My name is BioZVenom, the dog in the bowl. And thank you to Mash and Zero for once again letting me give my opinion for what I think is top 5 of Game of the Year of 2023. And these are pretty hot takes from my case. I normally rank them by the amount of fun and story. Story being #1 priority for me. Second's gameplay. And it's just the third is just the amount of fun you can have. For instance, my top 5 right now, starting at number 5, is Lethal Company. Now, it doesn't have much of a story, that is true. But I will say it's the most fun I ever had with a bunch of friends because it's multiplayer. And it's technically a horror themed game. And it's amazing to be there with your friends, collecting the loot, like always. All multiplayer games need loot. But just to just fool around with your friends, bumping into monsters, almost dying, getting eaten by a giant, or dying to a quicksand, or getting struck by lightning. That's really fun, but also annoying. But yeah, no, it's the amount of fun I had, which is why it's top 5. And you think being in a horror game, the amount of fun I would have being scared shitless? No, the amount of fun I had in this game is trolling my fucking friends. Either by pushing them down a staircase, no, not staircase, pushing down a gap in the walkway, or setting off a turret and having them killed, or my funnest part is just creepily changing my voice and saying some outlandish shit to them. Like, I'll give you an example right now.
The amount of terror into my friends. It's always a game changer.
I actually hope that was picked up, and hope I didn't scare you, whoever's editing this. But yeah, that's my true reason why Lethal Company is my top 5. Now, giving you my hot take for number 4, Mortal Kombat 1. Now, I don't really have a good reason. I mean, Mortal Kombat 1, I'm just basically going off of the story mode. Story mode is amazing for me because I truly love a good story and is told correctly. And if it goes off on the previous game, like Mortal Kombat 11, because this is the aftermath of Mortal Kombat 11, where Liu Kang is in charge of his own timeline and recreating events of Mortal Kombat. Granted, it's his version of the storytelling, but it doesn't go the way he does, and he has to take responsibility for the actions he made, and a couple of shitheads, try to interfere with his own timeline. But it's a good story. It's definitely a good story. The gameplay, it's I was gonna say mid, but it's basically what you expect from any Mortal Kombat game. Did I have fun with it? Of course I had fun with it. I had fun with all the characters, especially Johnny Cage and Mr. Worldwide. Man, that mod it's funny every time he does a super. But no, and honestly, I can't wait for the DLC characters to come out because you got, Omni-Man's already out. He's fun to play as. Homelander still needs to be released, and I can't wait for Homelander to be out there. So we can have Omni-Man versus Homelander. What else? Peacemaker, always a joy if John Cena's in the game. I can't remember the other 3, but I am hoping next year we can get Injustice Superman, because I would love to have Injustice Superman fight Omni-Man or fight Homelander and just having them shit talk. The one thing I like about this game is that they're always shit talking to each other during the intro, and I like that. But again, the reason why it's top 4 is because of the story. The story is truly amazing. I can't wait to see what they do with Mortal Kombat 2, or if they're going to have DLC stories. But I don't want to spoil the game if you haven't already. Again, it's Liu Kang's version of the timeline and how he deals with it and the mess he contributes to it. Going to number 3, and it's going to surprise a lot of people, I'm sure, because it's number 3, but it's the game of the year for number 3. It is Baldur's Gate 3. And honestly, it should be number one. It should, in all respect, it should be number one. The only reason why it's number 3 is because while I do truly enjoy D&D, the other two is more faster paced for me, and gameplay wise is amazing. I wouldn't say it has a better storyline, it's just faster paced for me. Baldur's Gate 3 is over the top view, basic Dungeons and Dragons versions of a video game. You could do literally anything you want. Hell, you can have a very chaotic playthrough or a very tame playthrough, especially with friends. I mean, not with friends being tame, but friends being chaotic, because it gets very chaotic when, you know, you're in a cutscene and you see in the distance, in the back, your friend mugging or killing an NPC in the background, which then affects the story. So it is hilarious that happens, but again, it's a little bit on the slow end for me. Again, I love it, but it's not, I want to say fast for me, if you know what I mean. Hard to explain, but no, it's, again, amazing story, amazing combat, amazing gameplay. The fact that you could literally do almost anything, like kicking a squirrel to death or having sex with a bear. I'm still trying to process that one. I'm thinking of cocaine bear for some reason now. Anyway, Baldur's Gate 3, number 3 on my list. For number 2, which is ironic because Baldur's Gate 3 is 3, now number 2 is 2. You probably can guess it from that hint. It is Spider-Man 2. I wish they had like Venom Unleash at the bottom of that tag. But no, see, this is what I meant by it being a faster paced game. It's Spider-Man is like quick into combat, quick into swinging, quick into flying, gliding. It's just all around amazing, in my opinion. Sure, there's a lot of people who disagree with the story. Some people will disagree with some mechanics. But, you know, you gotta appreciate a game when it's released. Especially with all the heart and detail into Spider-Man 2. Granted, there are some models that are questionable. No, not models. Some costumes that are questionable, like the Adidas Spider-Man calling you out, Miles Morales. But other than that weird costume change, it's amazing. And I gotta say, I literally had a hard time understanding why even Peter's even there. Not because he's the main character, it's mainly because Miles kind of outshined him all the time. Miles has the electric ability, Miles has the Riz, Miles has the charm. I just don't understand what Peter how can Peter compete with Miles? Miles is overpowerful. He's so broken in this game. I had a hard time playing as Peter than I did with Miles. But it does make sense for Peter to keep up is to have the symbiote suit. Because when Peter gets the symbiote suit, oh, you know there's power behind it. I feel like he killed a man. But story-wise, it was good. It was a good story. I can't wait to see what they do next. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't played it. But obviously I kind of already spoiled some stuff. Yeah, Peter gets the black suit. Miles is there to help out. Venom does show up once in a while. Or, not once in a while. But he makes his presence known. Kraven is a badass. Like, oh my god, I didn't think Kraven would do shit. But man. Oh man, did Kraven. I can't wait to see what they do with Spider-Man 3 or in DLCs after Kraven. Like, Kraven set the bar in villainy. But besides the point, it is not my number 1. My number 1 for Game of the Year. And I actually don't know if this is really considered Game of the Year, simply because it's a DLC and not a full-fledged game. So, Mash, if you or Zero are videoing this, just let me know in our group chat if I need to redo number 1. Or have a small, in the bottom right-hand corner, SuperiorX approve for this nomination of Game of the Year. Keep this in post, obviously, so we know. So they approved it. Yes, it's TSG approve. Anyway, yeah, number one for me is DLC God of War Valhalla Game of the Year. Now, yes, that's a very hot take, but I would argue it is the best version of God of War, more accurate God of War, actually, if I have to think about it. Probably not, because there are limits to what Kratos can do in Valhalla, but yeah, so God of War Valhalla is basically a roguelike game. It's featuring a simile of Hades, if anyone knows Hades, which was the 2D game where I believe you're Hades' son trying to break out of hell. But in this case, it's Kratos breaking into Valhalla to uncover some mystery about who sent for him and dealing the past of his traumas. And because it's Valhalla, you are pretty much supposed to die every time you reach the end, and then you overcome those deaths by getting stronger every time you die. And honestly, it's probably the most smoothest gameplay. It always keeps you on your toes because you're dealing with enemies that are pretty tough. And the only way to overcome them is you beat the shit out of them. But if you die, you get to like re-roll your equipment, re-roll your stats. It's basically forcing you to get better. That's what I like, because God of War has a history of. Listen, I played Give Me God of War mode. I fucking killed Garnar and the Berserker King on Give Me God of War mode. I am a fucking maniac when it comes to this stuff. And when it comes to Valhalla, that storytelling is amazing. It's trying to make Kratos overcome his past and become a god. I don't know if that's spoiling now, but yeah, no, I'm probably spoiling. I'm not gonna say what he becomes. It's pretty much Kratos on his own without Atreus, and just him like being the mega Chad that he is, with Mimir on his hip, because Mimir is his bro. Come on, Mimir is the bro. Mimir is the bro. But yeah, God of War Valhalla is number one game of the year in my books. Granted, it's not a full-fledged game. Granted, it's a DLC. But I gotta admit, the narrative in that storyline, the combat, the way the progression works, the way the loot works, the way that it always focus on you becoming better than your previous run-through, it's chef kiss to me. God of War Valhalla, Game of the Year 2023. And this has been my top 5 for the year 2023. Thank you once again to Mash and Zero for allowing me to share my hot takes of 2023 Game of the Year. I hope you guys in the comments, viewers, enjoy my hot takes. If you want me to elaborate more about my opinions of these hot takes, just let Mash and Zero know, and maybe we can work a full-fledged video, me going into details on why. Sorry if it feels a little bit rushed, but don't want to make somebody do more work in the backgrounds of editing this video. But tune in next time for 2024 Game of the Year. I mean, it's a long wait, but until then, you will have Bulb coming up with his 2023 hot takes, and then Zero or Mash or whatever in the order. Maybe Zero next. Who knows? But catch you all later. And if you're wondering why there's a Valentine's balloons in the back, I'm looking for love. And have a good night. Bye.